Okay, I think we're all set. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Natural English lesson. I am Nagi, and I'll be your Natural English coach as usual. So, it's time for this week's lesson. Oops, right, it does that sometimes. There we go. So, here is the word that we're going to be starting with today. What is this word? Can you say this word right now? The word is sketchy. Sketchy. Have you ever heard this word before? Have you heard somebody using this word before, besides me right now? So this is a very useful word to describe a lot of different things. So as you can see, the focus, the stress is on the first syllable, sketchy, sketchy. So sketchy basically is originally it was a slang word, but a lot of different people use it nowadays, so it's a pretty common word that you'll hear people use. It's still not really used in a polite vocabulary, but you'll definitely hear it used casually a lot. So the word sketchy can be used to talk about a person or a place or a thing that is creepy or strange or something that makes you uncomfortable or someone that makes you uncomfortable. It's not really one specific, it's not one single emotion because it kind of includes all the different bad emotions. So it's actually a very useful word with a lot of different ways to use it. So let's look at our sentences here. Have you ever been in a sketchy situation? So a sketchy situation might be at a time when you are alone, or maybe you are somewhere late at night and you don't really feel safe, right? You don't know what's going on. Maybe you think somebody is following you, or maybe you think, oh, that person over there maybe is not safe, right? That's definitely a sketchy situation to be in. So the other question is, what makes a person seem sketchy to you? So like I said, a situation or a place can be sketchy, or a person can also be sketchy. As you can see, we use the word seem here as well. That's a common way to use this word. Someone seems sketchy. Something seems sketchy or looks sketchy. Either one works. Although the difference is that if you use seems, it's more of a feeling, right? It's more of a feeling that you get. If something looks sketchy, it's because you are seeing something that you don't feel comfortable about, right? All right, so how would you answer these questions? Let's try it right now. So the first question is, have you ever been in a sketchy situation? Try and answer now. All right. So I think most people have been in some kind of sketchy situation or another during their lives, right? Maybe it was because you were on vacation and you went to a bad part of town, or maybe there are some places where you live where it's not really safe to go at certain times. How about the second question? What makes a person seem sketchy to you? Go ahead and answer now. All right. So, generally, when we talk about what makes a person seem sketchy, you're talking about their features or their actions, right? So, maybe if somebody is staring at you a lot, that could be sketchy. Or maybe if somebody is following you, that definitely is sketchy, right? Or maybe just that the person kind of looks scary, right? Maybe, there are many different ways to look scary. The person in the picture probably looks scary. You don't want to meet them in a dark parking lot, right? So it's up to each individual person to decide what feels sketchy to them. All right. So let's look at our dialogue for today. As usual, you will read the dialogue first, then I will read it, and then I will give you another chance to read it again to correct your pronunciation. So go ahead and read the first red sentence up top. Okay. Is this the apartment building your friend lives in? It seems a bit sketchy. All right, go ahead and try that one again. Okay. Now go ahead and say the blue response on line 2. Okay, this one's a little bit longer. This is the first time I've seen it. You're right, there's lots of broken furniture and trash out front. That scene doesn't sit right with me. Okay, now you try again. Okay, now go ahead and read the bottom red text. Okay. Yeah, that's a big red flag. Plus, those scary guys over there are watching us. They're freaking me out. Okay, now you go ahead and read it. Okay. Yeah, that's a big red flag. Plus, those scary guys over there are watching us. They're freaking me out. Okay. So, let's go ahead down to the bottom blue. Go ahead and read the bottom blue now. Okay. We should just go home. I'm not comfortable with entering this apartment building. All right. Now you go ahead and try it again. All right. Nice job. So now, as usual, we're going to look at those 5 phrases that you see in bold print, the larger print. All right, so here's our first one, red flag. What is a red flag? So a red flag, well, you can imagine what a real red flag would look like. It's just a flag that is red. However, as you probably know, in many different cultures, red means danger. Red means a bad thing. So in English, a red flag is a thing that shows you, it's like a sign or some sort of signal, right? Some sort of thing that tells you, oh, there's something bad happening here, right? So usually it's like someone's action or something small that you notice that we call a red flag because it means usually that when you see that, it probably shows that the person has some kind of bigger issue or bigger problem, right? Or the place or a situation. So let's look at our sentences. Go ahead and read the top one. If you start dating someone new, you should watch for red flags. The word red flags is used a lot, especially when we're talking about dating different people, because when you start getting to know somebody, especially when you're becoming close very quickly, sometimes you can't fully know a person's personality, right? Sometimes there's hidden things that only appear later on, right? Sometimes negative things. So, for example, sometimes if a person becomes angry very quickly or acts very jealous, those things we tend to call red flags because they show that there could be a bigger problem later on. All right, go ahead and read the bottom sentence. All right. The mechanic shop had a lot of negative reviews, which that was a major red flag. So major just means a very big something, right? A very big red flag. This actually happened to me recently, which is, I think, why I created this example in the first place. So a mechanic is a place that fixes your car, right? So especially not just for a mechanic shop, but basically any place that you go for like a restaurant or, anything else for shopping. Any place like that, if you, go on your phone or your computer and you check the reviews for a place and you see a bunch of like 1-star reviews, 2-star reviews, and see a lot of people complaining, that is definitely a big red flag. And most of the time you should probably avoid that place. All right, our next one, freak me out. If something freaks you out or freaks me out, it's basically talking about something that scares you or something that makes you very worried or anxious, right? All right, go ahead and read the first sentence up top. Okay. The man on the street suddenly started yelling at nobody, and it freaked me out. So I'm sure everybody has had those situations or those encounters where there's somebody who's kind of a little bit, weird in the head, and they start talking or yelling at nobody, and kind of definitely freaks you out, right? Go ahead and read the bottom sentence. Okay. I was freaked out when I thought my brother had gotten into a car accident. So the meaning of this sentence is that the brother probably did not get into a car accident, but the speaker thought that they did, right? So when they thought that their brother got into a car accident, they were really freaked out, right? They were very scared and worried. All right, here's going back to our first word, sketchy. So let's look at some examples for sketchy. Go ahead and read the top example now. Okay. The bar we went to was really sketchy. It was dirty, dark, and many people there looked dangerous. If you are the type of person that goes to bars a lot, the word sketchy will definitely come up a lot with you and your friends. It's a really easy way to describe a bar that you maybe don't want to go to. A sketchy bar. All right, now go ahead and try the bottom sentence. Okay. I thought twice about buying a used car from a sketchy man I met online, right? So, buying a used car, well, at least in the United States, can be a little bit of a tricky thing because sometimes people are trying to sell you bad cars. So, especially if the person you are buying a car from seems sketchy, maybe it's something you don't want to do, right? Okay, our next one is doesn't sit right with me. If something doesn't sit right with you, it's not quite the same meaning as freak you out, but it's more that you have an uncomfortable feeling. Something is making you uncomfortable. It doesn't sit right with you. All right, so go ahead and read the top sentence. Okay. I need money quickly, but the terms of this loan don't sit right with me. The interest rate is 45%, which is generally a very, very high interest rate for a loan. If that's the kind of cost of paying back the loan, it can be kind of dangerous. So go ahead and read the second sentence below. Okay. He seems nice most of the time, but something about his personality doesn't sit right with me. Right? So that's another example of maybe this person sees a red flag and then they think, oh, this doesn't sit right with me, right? I'm uncomfortable with that. Okay, speaking of uncomfortable, we have making me uncomfortable. Something is making me uncomfortable. Now I'm gonna switch over to our whiteboard quickly to talk about the, there we go, talk about the word uncomfortable. All right, so the word uncomfortable or the word comfortable is a tricky word for Japanese speakers of English to say correctly because the word does not or is not spelled like it sounds, right? If you try to read the word like it's spelled, you would read it as comfortable, which is 4 sounds. However, comfortable only has 3 sounds when we say it. So if I were to write it like it sounds, it would be like this. Comfortable, like this. Comfortable. So see how it doesn't look anything like how you're supposed to write it, but this is the way that natural English speakers will say the word comfortable. 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 You try it. Okay. Comfortable. Comfortable. If you say comfortable, the natural English speakers will probably not even understand the word you're trying to say. So this is a very important word to get correct. It is 3 sounds, not 4. All right. So, making me uncomfortable. Go ahead and read the top sentence. All right. can you please stop smoking near me? It's making me uncomfortable. Okay, and how about the second sentence below? Okay. I didn't want to date him, but he kept asking me every day. It made me rather uncomfortable. So, as you can see, the word rather is in there, but it doesn't really change the meaning of the phrase. Rather is another word like sort of or kind of, something like that. It's more creates it more affects the tone of the sentence than the meaning. It's kind of softens it a little bit. Alright, so we are back to our dialogue. And once again, it's up to you to fill in the words when you're reading of the 5 phrases we just went over. So go ahead and try the first read dialogue at the top. Okay. Is this the apartment building your friend lives in? It seems a bit sketchy. A bit sketchy. Go ahead and try that again. Okay. Now go ahead and try the second blue sentence, or sentences. It's actually kind of long. Okay. This is the first time I've seen it. You're right, there's lots of broken furniture and trash out front. That scene doesn't sit right with me. Okay, go ahead and try it again. Okay, now go ahead and try saying the second read dialogue. Okay. Yeah, that's a big red flag. Plus, those scary guys over there are watching us. They're freaking me out. Go ahead and try it again. Okay, good. Now go ahead and read the bottom blue sentence. Okay. We should just go home. I'm not comfortable with entering this apartment building. Now you go ahead. Okay, nice job. So again, if you had trouble with any of this, remember that once the video is put on my channel right after this, you can go back and study it as much as you want. You can pause and practice as much as you want, which I recommend because the more you practice, the better you'll get. All right, so now time to answer some questions. So our first question is, what are some red flags you see at bad restaurants? Go ahead and answer now. All right. So maybe you said, oh, some red flags that, the food was not cooked. That's a big red flag, right? Maybe the service was very slow, or maybe the place was very dirty. Those are all big red flags for restaurants, right? Our next question is, what kinds of things freak you out the most? It's kind of an open-ended question. What kinds of things freak you out the most? Go ahead and answer now. All right. So it could be lots of different things, right? For me, one thing that really freaks me out is large spiders. Large spiders really freak me out the most. But it can be totally different for many different people, right? We all have our own things to be afraid of, or whether they are logical or not. There's lots of things that freak people out. So go ahead and with the third question, which is, when you're in a crowded space, right? A place with lots and lots of people all kind of like squished together. What is something you're not comfortable with when you're in a crowded space? Go ahead and answer now. Okay. So maybe if you're in a crowded space, you're not comfortable with people touching you, or maybe you're not comfortable with people bumping into you, or maybe you're not comfortable with being below other people's shoulders if you're kind of short, right? All right, here's our other questions. When you see someone acting sketchy, how do you react? All right. So if you see someone acting sketchy, maybe your reaction is to walk away, right? Maybe you don't want to talk to them. Or maybe you do want to watch them to see what they do, right? But maybe if you're really brave, you'll say, "Hey, stop that. Cut that out," right? Different people have different responses, but I think the most common response is to stay away from them, right? So, go ahead with our next question. What is a vacation experience you had when something didn't sit right with you? Go ahead and answer now. Okay, so when talking about a vacation, there are lots of things that can happen on vacation that maybe are a little bit strange, right? Maybe if you visit a foreign country and you take a taxi, maybe you think, oh, this taxi is very, very expensive, or it's taking a very long time to go somewhere. This doesn't sit right with me, right? Or maybe you go to a restaurant and what you order from the menu doesn't look like what you wanted, right? And you're not sure about what you ordered. You're like, this doesn't sit right with me, right? So there's many different experiences you can have where something doesn't sit right with you. Okay, and our last question here is describe a sketchy person you've met or a sketchy place you've been to before. Go ahead. Okay, so you probably used words like it was dark, it was dirty, they looked dangerous, right? Talking about a person or a place. So that's all the questions we have for this week. But again, if you want more time to practice, if I'm not giving you enough time during the live stream, remember that you can always watch the video again and pause it to practice on your own. Alright, now time for a quick review of last week's lesson, which was the V sound in English. So if you need a refresher, try checking out the previous week's video before watching this one. Alright, go ahead and try reading number 1. Alright, it's 12:30. I'm very late to class. You try it again. Okay, good. Number 2. Try it. All right. I love playing my violin, right? The instrument. Like this. It's hard to show you on the camera. Go ahead and try number 2 again. Okay. Try number 3. Okay. Make sure you vote in the election. Try it. Okay. He hid the expensive vase inside his vest. Try it again. Okay, good job. Again, if you need more practice, go ahead and check out last week's lesson. All right, so that's it for this week. If you have, like I said just a minute ago, if you want, you can always try the other lessons and this lesson again as much as you want on my channel. And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share these videos, because the more people do that, the more time and energy I can spend to creating interesting lessons for you to watch here. Also, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me during the live stream, and then I'll be able to read them and respond to them immediately. But also, you can leave a comment on any of the videos, and then I'll respond to you there. So if you have any English questions, please feel free to leave a comment. All right, until next time, see you next week.